moment when you realize all the things they said were lies. It's time to open up your eyes, 'cause we were made to fly. We can do anything. We'll shine like the sun, the moon, the stars. We can go anywhere. They'll see us no matter where we are. 'Cause we got the fire. Oh, we got the fire. Show the world the impossible is possible. Show the world the impossible is possible. There's a moment when you understand. You don't gotta follow all the plans. It's time to open up your hands.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Usually I have my coffee talk with Trey, usually in the morning, right after after we have had our Board of Education meeting. But unfortunately, today I was unable to do that because today was a busy day. We started off with a meeting with the city of Powder Springs and talked about enrollment numbers and things of that nature during their planned session. They've had a three-day retreat, and so I was able and privileged enough to go and speak to them in regards to schools that are within the city limits of Powder Springs. And so we were there with them this morning, and then I ran over to Bryant Elementary, and we were having one of our quarterly STEM days, and invited our Commissioner Sheffield, and some of the leaders with the Mapleton Improvement Coalition. So we were at Bryant Elementary after that, and we were meeting with the school and the children and watching their STEM initiatives. And so today has been a busy day. And so now I'm here to give us updates on our Board of Education meeting from yesterday. So thank you for joining us. I appreciate you. See you. Thank you. And so we're going to jump right into it. So yesterday was a very, very it was a long meeting. So we had started at 1 p.m. rather, and we were there until around about a little after 8:30ish. But we had a lot of recognitions, student athletes and things of that nature. And so long meeting, but enjoyable. We did get some work done. And so we're going to just give a brief recap of what took place in those regards. So one of the big reports that was given was a high level overview around school growth and achievement. This is probably one of the first times I've seen a report like this. We usually see, several smaller reports, but this was a very comprehensive report. And in this report, we were able to look at where we are cumulatively, now that, we're still in COVID, but, we're starting to see some changes around spread, and there seems to be, quote unquote, some normalcy around education, and where we are in regards to our growth, even in the midst of a pandemic. And so we were able to talk about some of our College Board courses, such as our AP, and where we stood in regards to that as a county. And then we were, even after talking about some of that, so AP schools of distinction, some access and support schools. We had Pebblebrook and South Cobb High School were part of that cohort of AP. Then we talked about humanity achievement schools, and Pebblebrook was a part of that as well. AP STEM and achievement schools, and South Cobb High School was a part of that particular cohort. So we're excited about them participating in that. Then we talked about Title I reward schools. And so those that receive that Title I programming piece, and we have some schools that were participating in that, and they became Title I reward schools, like the Lindley Sixth Grade Academy, Powder Springs Elementary, Garrett Middle School, so Compton Elementary in Post 6. So it was exciting to see our schools represented in that particular space as far as Title I and Title I schools are concerned, and schools of excellence. STEM certified schools, we talked about some of those. Mableton Elementary has always led the way in regards to STEM programming in this county, and so we're appreciative for that. We talked about the different types of STEM schools. We have Cobb STEM, we have some Cognia STEM schools, and some Georgia certified STEM schools. And so we got a sampling between elementary, middle, and high school in regards to some of those schools. And so that was one of the highlights of that particular report. I will say I'm appreciative for the Pebblebrook cluster as they're working on STEM initiatives. As I said earlier, Bryant Elementary had a STEM day, and so people were coming into the school to view what STEM looks like at Bryant and how we're taking steps toward certification at some point, and how we're creating that framework for our students, so for critical thinking and things of that nature. And so we're excited to see that. And so things are happening in our schools. We talked about art integrated schools. We do have some schools with some art integration pieces. There wasn't a slide for it, but we talked about those schools that participate in the IB program. There's an entire pathway over in the Smyrna area schools, and so that was part of it. The PBIS, Positive Behavior Intervention and Support Schools, and several of our schools were that were a part of this list to include Bryant Elementary, City View, Clarkdale, Cooper, Cooper Middle School. There was Floyd Middle School, Garrett Middle School, Haven Academy is also on here, Hendricks Elementary School, Lindley Sixth Grade Academy, Lindley 7 and 8, Osborne High School is on this list, Powder Springs Elementary, Riverside Primary, Russell Elementary, Sanders Elementary, Tapp Middle School. I see Smitha Middle School on here. So several schools in the southern portion of the county participating and being a part of this. One of my favorite designations for our counselors is the RAMP Award, which is recognized American School Counseling Association. It's like a model program for schools. And Bryant Elementary is on this list again. And so thank you for our wonderful counselors at Bryant Elementary. Then I also see on the list is McEachern High School, Osborne High School, Pebblebrook High School. Thank you for those at Pebblebrook High School, Powder Springs Elementary, and South Cobb High School is designated as well. So we're excited about the RAMP programming piece at our local schools. We talked about some fine arts accomplishments that took place throughout the school district. Some superior ratings that we got from Pebblebrook High School. And then we talked about a lot of the athletic accomplishments that have taken place around the county. And then we talked about the early literacy framework schools and math fluency initiative schools and what that looks like around the county. And so some of those schools are in our portion of the county as well. Some of those early literacy framework schools, we have them at Austell Elementary, Clay Harmony Leland, Compton Elementary, Bryant Elementary, also at Hendricks Elementary. Let's see who else. Mableton Elementary is on the list as well. Russell, Sanders, Powder Springs, and these schools are participating in that particular initiative around early literacy. We also have a math fluency initiative as well, and so Bryant Elementary is a part of that. Compton Elementary is a part of that. Hendricks Elementary, Russell's and Sanders Elementary as well. And so a lot of good framework happening around strategies to help support our students as they matriculate through our school system. They talked about the Cobb collaborative communities, and those are groups within our schools, or different grade level groups that are collaborating and doing different things to also work together as a team to ensure that the students at that grade level are getting all the resources that they need, and if they need to accelerate or if they need to add some interventions and different things like that, that is where that collaborative piece comes into play, where they kind of diagnose where they are and determine what needs to happen so that those students can move forward. We also talked about Cobb students leading the Metro Atlanta area in regards to SAT scoring. We talked about ACT and SAT and where we are in regards to those, and we're doing very well, even from a state and a national level. We also talked about some of the other formative tests that we take, such as reading inventory, and how our students are doing as far as their reading is concerned. Some of those other intervention pieces, such as the Read 180 programming piece, and how our students are growing. Even in regards to that, we talked about System 44, which is like a phonics inventory piece, and how students are growing, and we're closing academic gaps in regards to that. Also, the math inventory, the MI. And so we were able to see that we are seeing some gains across the county when we use some of these assessment pieces throughout the school district. And so one of the most important things that came out of this conversation was our school district's response to COVID. And we started these learning quests for grades kindergarten through 8th grade. And if you recall, last year we had these camps throughout the summer last year, throughout the different breaks you may have seen in the fall and the winter. And so we're also expecting to see these same camps come back again this summer. So we're excited about that. And how that particular piece works is they're looking at data, and based on data, they're going to reach out to, a population of students that would require additional interventions over the summer. And they're going to invite those students to come in and be a part of the programming. It's a full day programming. It's going to have transportation tied to it. It will have the breakfast and lunch program tied to it as well. And it will be a fun environment where we're going to encourage students to help us get closer to some of those gaps that we may have had over the course of the last couple of years or so, and help close them in a fun, relaxed environment. And so we are inviting students to that. And then once those students have been invited, and those that decide that they want to participate, if there's room left over, they're going to start inviting other people to those programs. And so that was some good information that we received in regards to just a high-level overview of where the county is. One of the things that I requested after the completion of that was to make sure that I also got where we are in post 3 in regards to the progress that we're seeing countywide, so we can peruse if there's any gaps or any additional resources that we may need to apply to schools in our area as well, so that we can continue to push and have more rigor and more support in regards to moving children from one place to the next as they matriculate through our school district. And so I appreciate the superintendent and his team allowing us to have those conversations as well. So we will get that report soon, and we'll be able to sit down with our Chief Leadership and Academic Officer, Ms. Sherry Hill, and discuss what that looks like for our area and what the plan is on how we move forward to continue to improve education in the southern portion of the county. So I am excited about that and that opportunity as we move forward as well. Some of the other things that we were able to discuss was around the elementary virtual program and COLA. These are our online programs for elementary school and middle and high school. And there's a timeline that is about to come up. In fact, I think it starts today, March 25th, in which we need to sign up if you wish to continue to be a part of these virtual options for learning that we started back in 2020 as a result of the pandemic. And so we have an elementary virtual program, and if you would like to participate in that, where it will be full-time virtual learning for elementary, that's called the EVP, or the elementary virtual program. And also for COLA, which is like our middle school and high school virtual programs. If you want your children to continue to participate in the virtual program, or you want them to start in the virtual program, the sign up for that starts March 25th, today. I believe that's today. And so I want to make sure that we are aware of those opportunities as they are continuing to be made available as a result of where we are. And so I want to make sure that we are aware of that so we don't miss that timeline. I don't want us to miss that timeline because, again, the window will be short, I'm sure, in regards to the timeline in which we have to sign up. So we have to start making some decisions now as to what we want to do starting next school year. So start looking into that, and and start making the decisions that's best for your family as we move forward. One of the other things I would like to bring forward is spring break is upon us. spring break is upon us. Spring break is upon us. April 4th through the 8th, the first week in April, we will be on spring break, so there's no school. Uh, I'm sure our students and our teachers and everyone is excited about that. So parents, please prepare accordingly for spring break, as it is upon us, and we'll be here very shortly. And then most of you recognize that after spring break, we go into a testing season. So we want children to be well rested and prepared for that next level before we close out the school year and have graduations and other great things that are taking place this last part of the school year. So spring break is upon us, and then we're going to immediately go into some testing. So let's prepare our minds and prepare our children for the next couple of months left in this particular school year. One of the other things that was raised in the superintendent's report was around the pay raise that was offered by our governor. And so we are recognizing that it will be for this particular academic year. And so our staff should look for these bonuses and different things. And I believe it was for full time, but I believe our superintendent has worked it out so that it includes a larger group of our staffing to also receive some of these bonuses that we're talking about. And so you should look to see those raises. I'm sorry, not raises, but see that additional bonus money on your April pays. So the end of April is when you should look to see some of that additional support from the governor's office and also from our superintendent in regards to CARES 3 funds that we're using to help supplement and bring more people into that program. So we're appreciative for those efforts. Okay, we had several things, a lot of different things on our agenda items. And so one of the things that I want to talk about is flooring replacement, the gym floor at Garrett Middle School. So we did approve that. So the gym floor will get replaced at Garrett Middle School. So those in the Garrett family, you can look to see that take place probably more than likely over the summer so that it will be ready by the time. But we did approve that request, that recommendation from the superintendent to get that started. And then also I want to talk about several other items that was on the agenda that was from our McEachern High School endowment fund. So McEachern High School has an endowment fund from the McEachern family, and they have been instrumental in supplementing many of the projects at McEachern High School for that school community to ensure that those students have the things that they need to be successful. And so several projects down through the years have been a part of this relationship that we have and this partnership that we have with the endowment. And so we were able to get approved 3 recommendations that was sent before the board in regards to a renovation of the alumni hall, or to get the alumni hall up and going at McEachern High School, and this right off of the field. But then also there was a recommendation for the stadium scoreboard and LED video board to be replaced. And so those projects were approved as well. And so, yes, several projects for the McEachern family. And so we're excited to see those things take place as well. We also had the privilege of having Principal Montgomery and Terry Johnson from the foundation come to our board meeting and help present in regards to those. And so we're excited that we were able to accommodate those needs being met as we move forward. Some of the other items that was on the agenda involved, let's see, that affects us directly. Yes, recommendation for to extend our strategic waiver school system contract with the Georgia Department of Education. And so I requested to get a list from John Floresta in regards to what we're actually already waiving and asking to continue to be waived. And I believe the new process is for the next 2 years. And so for those of you that are not aware, this process allows us to waive state law in regards to certain requirements that we require of schools, because we are a strategic school, a strategic waiving school system. And so we opted into this system many years ago. And so please be aware that when we talk about what we are waiving, the purpose of waiving it is so that we can also improve student achievement. So if we're waive something and it doesn't necessarily line up with quote unquote what is student achievement, then we have to review that. And so John Floresta did send that to me on yesterday. And so we will peruse that. Some of our civic groups, the Mapleton Improvement Coalition Education Committee, the Austell Community Task Force Education Committee, and also our Powder Springs Community Task Force Education Committee, so that we can look at what we are currently waiving and ensure that what we are waiving does actually line up with quote unquote student achievement in our area. And so we will be able to do that shortly, as that was requested of two of our groups. And so we're going to look at that and make sure that we are in line with those things as well. And so good deal. Let's see what we have next. So School Board Appreciation Week, we just finished that. That was March 14th through March 18th. And so I am so appreciative for my fellow board members and those that even around the metro Atlanta area, here in Cobb as well, who give up their time and energy and efforts to ensure that we have great schools for students. And so happy School Board Appreciation Week to all of you. And I'm excited. I was able to get a nice plaque from our Cobb County School District. Appreciative of this. I will hang this on the wall somewhere. And of course, thank you for all the love from all of our elementary, middle, and high schools that have gone above and beyond to show me how much you appreciate what we're doing on the behalf of our community schools. And I have a ton of t-shirts. In fact, thank you, Garrett Middle School, for this new t-shirt. I put it on today. And I was laughing yesterday, telling one of our support staffs at the district office. I said I have a new wardrobe full of t-shirts and sweatshirts and jackets for our schools, and so I'm appreciative for that. And so all summer long, you're going to see me in our school attire, representing all of those great schools we have here in the southern portion of the county. So thank you for all of you who sent love. And Compton Elementary sent me some bundt cakes, 3 of them. So me and my 2 boys, of course, one's already gone, and before the end of the night is over, the other 2 will be gone as well, as we enjoy the goodies and all of the great things that was given to us. So we appreciate you for that. I do want to make sure that I highlight and appreciate again Mayor Thurman and City Council over in the city of Powder Springs for inviting me to come and talk about enrollment numbers, to talk about redistricting. If you recall, in December, I had an agenda item to talk about redistricting for post 3, what that looked like for our schools in the southern portion of the county. And so I'm excited that we were able to have that conversation today, as they are planning redevelopment and different things for the city of Powder Springs. It's good to know where our schools line up in regards to some of that smart planning. And so we were able to discuss our enrollment projections based on the enrollment report that was given to us in February by education planners. And so we're excited that we were able to present that to City Council and get some feedback and have some dialogue in regards to how we move forward and how our schools move forward. One of the things that came out of that conversation is early learning centers. As you know, we do have an early learning center here in the Mapleton area. It's called the South Cobb Early Learning Center. And so Powder Springs, we were talking about, some of that expansion of that programming piece. I know we're thinking about putting one in Smyrna. And so those were some talks that we were able to have today, and also give them an update in regards to SPLOST 6 and how Tapp Middle School is also expected to get some significant renovations and upgrades to that particular school as well. So a lot of good information. Now let's move on to public comment. The day session, we had 2 speakers in regards to public comment. And the first speaker, Mr. Robert Phelps, he wanted to speak to us in regards to East Valley Elementary School and in regards to some work that we were planning to do in that area. And in fact, it was one of the agenda items that we had in regards to approving award for the East Valley Elementary School being rebuilt. And so we're excited that that community is going to get a new school. And but then there was some talks in regards to additional tennis courts and things for Wheeler High School, which is very close to that new property. And so we were able to talk about that. He discussed that in regards to his comments to the board. And then Karen Sonderman came and she was requesting in regards like a health survey and constitutional classes, and she was requesting an opt-in for surveys that may be presented to students from the Department of Education in regards to behavioral health or mental health of our students, and making sure that parents are involved and a part of that conversation. And so that was part of it. I see, Miss. Okay. I see that. Right. Where are we? Any benefits as a result? What part were we talking about in regards to that? In regards to the Powder Springs stuff, I want to make sure I'm answering the question. I saw it, and then I may have been moving so fast that I did not know exactly where we were, and I saw it come through. Oh, the redistricting. Yes, so with redistricting, we have a lot that's coming up, and so I don't want to put too much out there too fast, but Dr. Howard and I have been working with the school district since January to talk about redistricting for post 3. And so one of the areas that we worked on back in January specifically was the Mableton area, those schools such as the Lindleys, some of the elementary schools that feed into the middle schools, and how we're going to redistrict that for Pebblebrook High School. Pebblebrook High School is overcrowded, and trying to work through some of those nuances. And we do have a plan that we will be presenting pretty soon. There were some things that we're going to present to the Board of Education very soon, and so I am expecting hopefully to see that information presented probably next month in April. And so that will help us to start having the conversation around the Lindleys and the Pebblebrook cluster. And then as far as the South Cobb High School cluster and those elementary schools, Mableton Elementary, Russell and Sanders, Floyd Middle School, we're working on a plan currently through there. So that's still being massaged and data is still being looked at. So that is moving forward as well. That's going to assist Osborne and also South Cobb High School. South Cobb High School being 600 kids under capacity, and so looking to see what that looks like in the area to make sure that we evenly distribute students appropriately. That is being looked at as well. And then of course the Powder Spring area schools and what we're going to do in regards to that. So today my conversations with Powder Springs was around that, and what did we want to see happen, especially with city council in regards to some of the smart development that they're working on, and making sure that when they are considering different things that they also consider our schools, and how what they do affects schools and what we do affects city government. And so very great conversation today in regards to that. But very soon we're going to be able to roll out and start having conversations within the community in regards to some of the plans around the Pebblebrook cluster and the South Cobb cluster really, really soon. So thank you for that. All right. Back to Miss Karen Sonderman. She was the second speaker, and she wanted to talk in regards to constitutional classes and requested that needed to be more throughout our schools as we're moving forward through their K-12 experience. So thank you. Yes, I'm looking forward to some updates as well, and more updates, and presenting them to you soon. Okay, the night session, we had 13 speakers, and so I'm gonna move through this pretty quickly. Ms. Tova Ringland, she's our first speaker. She has been very instrumental in coming to our board meetings monthly to advocate on behalf of students for special needs. She's also a parent of students with special needs, and so this particular time she was advocating in regards to drugs on campus and students having access to drugs on campus, and that was a concern for her. And so I appreciate her bringing that concern to the Board of Education so that we may thoroughly investigate and again see what we can do to ensure that we're creating safe learning environments for all students. And so thank you again, Ms. Tova, as always, for bringing that to our attention and to the attention of our superintendent, who again is operationally working on things to ensure that we have safe learning environments. The second one, Rashid Tate. This is a young man. He lives in Mableton. However, he attends Campbell High School rather. Campbell High School is a magnet program, and it's IB school. And so we have students from all over the county that attend Campbell High School. And so he was the first speaker of many to speak in regards to their experience at Campbell High School. And they have advocated what I would like to say was a quiet demonstration or a silent demonstration in regards to some of the culture and climate at Campbell High School and around the district that they would like to see changed in regards to hate and racism in our Cobb schools. And so there was apparently some instances of racism and hate at Campbell High School, and so one of the things that they would like to see us address as a Board of Education is the policy around the discipline for those students that may have had some infractions in regards to this particular policy, because in their opinion, it seems to be there needs to be some more streamlined support around what that discipline looks like for students that are participating in behavior that is not allowing our schools to be a safe environment, but they're perpetuating hate and racism within our schools. And so they came to speak to us in regards to that. They talked about the resolution that our Board of Education passed last year in regards to anti-Semitism and hate and racism. And so they would like to see what we have outlined as a Board of Education, what that outline plan to address these issues were or are. And so that was what they asked for. And so our first speaker was Mr. Rashid Tate, and he was excellent. And thank you, Mr. Tate, for coming to speak to the board. Our next speaker, Radia, she came and she spoke. She lives in Marietta. And she also spoke, again, she's part of the Black Student Association. They have a minority caucus at Campbell High School. And so they talked to us in regards to wanting certain policies. There's 2 different policy pieces that they want us to revise some of the verbiage in regards to that. So that was also presented to us. Ms. Kezia Kennedy, she also came and spoke to us. Her comments were also addressing some of the concerns around CRT. And in fact, she mentioned that CRT being a scapegoat for not addressing hate. And so she wanted to make sure that we did not confuse that and in this conversation around racism and hate in our schools. Also, the next speaker, Ms. Marley English, talked about what we actually have outlined as far as a range of discipline for different things, and that 10-day suspension for students that participate in racist situations, whether it be speech or graffiti or anything like that, that the minimum discipline be 10-day suspension was what was requested in order for us to change the culture and climate in our schools, as we have seen most recently around the anti-Semitism and racism in our schools. Our next speaker, Ms. Jennifer Susko, she's a former employee of Cobb, a counselor who has been advocating many years in regards to our students who are suffering racial violence in our schools. And so she talked about the resolution and CRT as well, and supporting those students that came on yesterday to publicly advocate before the Board of Education at our board meeting. The next person, Ms. Becky Saylor. Ms. Becky Saylor is a candidate for Post 2, and she came to talk about additional support for literacy and summer camps, but she also wanted us to review our policy around around our students allowing them to speak at our board meetings. That's what it is. So there's a BCBI code in regards to student voice, and it says that if you wanted to come and speak before the Board of Education, we have that public comment section before every meeting, that you have to be 18 years of age, or you have to have your parents come with you. And so the community over the last couple of months have decided to come and speak to us in regards to that policy, asking us to make some revisions, because students that are 16, 17, 18 who are able to drive, but not necessarily can, who would like to come and speak before the board, but necessarily can't have parents come and assist and be a part of that sign-off process because of, work and other things that are taking place. And so they would like to have the opportunity to speak without that parent consent piece, as they are suggesting. And so she came and she spoke in regards to that and asked us to review that. But her comments were around unfinished learning. And so she's one of 4 candidates that will be running to represent Post 2 on the Cobb County School District Board of Education. So I want to take a moment here and stop. Many of you know I represent Post 3, which is specifically Mableton, Austell, and Powder Springs, those schools that feed into Pebblebrook High School, South Cobb High School, and McEachern. I do not represent McEachern currently. My two high schools is Pebblebrook High School and South Cobb High School. But the way the new redistricting lines have been drawn, I will come January represent Pebblebrook High School and McEachern High School, and those schools that feed into McEachern High School, the Pebblebrook cluster of schools per se, not the Lindleys, but all of the elementary schools and Pebblebrook High School. But I no longer will represent South Cobb High School and that Mableton portion of South Cobb and that Austell portion. So really our community of interest between Pebblebrook and South Cobb High School has been kind of cut in half. And so a new post has been drawn in, which is post 2. And so even though many of you voted for me 2 years ago to represent you on the Cobb County School District, coming in May, you will have an opportunity to vote for your new board members. So those of you that live in that South Cobb region of Mableton, you need to go to your voter page through the Secretary of State, start looking at where you are and if you are in the new post, because you have an opportunity to vote for a new representative come May. I think there's 2 Republican candidates, there's 2 Democrat candidates. Becky Saylor is one of those candidates. I believe she was just recently endorsed by Dr. Howard, your current post 2 board member. And so make sure that you are aware that there's an opportunity for those of you that live in that area. You'll be voting for a new board member in May of this year. And then also whoever comes out of the 2 races, the Republican race and the Democrat race, they will see each other in November. And then whoever is the who comes out of that in November, that will be your new board members coming January. So let's make sure that we are aware of that piece coming forward. So thank you, Becky, for coming to speak to us. Our next person that spoke with us is Hyla Daly. She actually attends Pebblebrook High School, and she's a Pebblebrook High School student that wanted to talk to the Board of Education in regards to sexual harassment at Pebblebrook High School. And so I want to thank her for bringing this to our attention, because once you bring it to our attention, our principals are involved and they're engaged. And so we are looking to the leadership of Dr. Dana Giles, who's done an excellent job at Pebblebrook High School, and working with her to make sure she has the resources that she needs in order to ensure that we are, again, creating a safe learning environment for all of our students at Pebblebrook High School. And so we'll be working with her and whatever diagnostics that she comes up with in regards to that, so to make sure we are resourced properly. Because our next speaker, Miss Jenny Ducio, and I pray I'm saying these names correctly, also lives not too far from me over here. She also attends Mableton, and she came to speak to the Board of Education to address mental health and some of those gaps, stating that we need more counselors at Pebblebrook. And so basically her thought process is we need what we call counselors or college career ready counselors, those that help students to navigate the college and career readiness and our schedules, and making sure that we have all the credits we need to graduate out of these specific pathways that we choose. But also we need more mental health counselors. So oftentimes they may be doing dual role when you get to high school, but there needs to be some more support around the mental health piece and making sure we have adequate mental health counselors and time for students to receive those services and receive some of those the wraparound support that they need in regards to mental health. And so both of those public comments tied hand in hand in regards to what we need to do to move forward at Pebblebrook High School. And so I appreciate you coming and speaking to us, and so we can again work with Dr. Dana Giles, our principal, and district leadership, and find out what we need to do to ensure that, again, safe learning environments, and that we have an adequate amount of resources to help support our schools. So thank you again for coming. Carolyn Hoko, she's a regular at our Board of Education meeting. She happened to give remarks. Her remarks were comments from another Campbell student who wasn't 18 years of age, and so they could not speak. So they asked some of the adults that were there to read their comments to the Board of Education, and so Ms. Carolyn Hoko was able to do so. So she also gave her remarks in regards to that board policy being changed, but she also wanted to make sure that she addressed the comments of that student. And that student was right along with the other students from Campbell in regards to hate and racism in our schools and making sure that we adequately address it through policy. The next speaker was Melissa Martin, and again, she was there. She was a Campbell student to again talk about the racism and how we can address it as a board. This particular parent read for another Campbell student. I'm sorry, and so we thank you for those parents that were able to read comments and community leaders to read those comments from their students. Miss Laura Judge was our next speaker, and she also read on behalf of a Jewish student who was also at Campbell Student, and her concerns around the hate with the anti-Semitism incidents that we've had at several of our schools, and how hate in general is just being pervasive, and there needs to be some support in regards to that. Many of the students talked about how not having enough support in regards to programming. As you are aware, the No Place for Hate programming was removed out of the Cobb County School District, and so their request was for programming that would help support and get some education back into the school to help students navigate the places that they are in currently. And then our last speaker was Jasmine Evans. She's a Barber Middle School parent who came to advocate in regards to her son. Apparently there was an incident where with her son and a bully at the school, and so she wanted to make sure that proper support was given to her son, who is a victim of bullying, and following what the actual Georgia codes are, and making sure that our policies align with the actual Georgia code in regards to this particular situation at Barber Middle School for her son. And so thank you for all of the speakers who came to speak. It was, again, we are a public school, and we serve all of the public, our community, and as board members, we are liaisons to the community. Our job is to make sure that your voice is heard, and that decisions are made to ensure that public schools and our schools in the public schools are meeting the needs of the public. And so with that, you're going to have, as our county continues to grow and change, you're going to see a lot of different perspectives and a lot of different ideas on what that looks like, based on, different areas and different communities of interest within the county. And so hopefully there will be a time when we can come together and really sit down and work through some of these different nuances so that we can ensure safe learning environments and high educational rigor for all students in Cobb County. And so I'm excited about the future of Cobb County Schools and the work that we have to do to ensure that we are really meeting our goal of student success for all students. And so, hey, Tony, thank you for joining us this afternoon. I happened to see a beautiful young lady on yesterday at the Board of Education meeting. And so I was excited to see her there and spoke with her, and so thank you again for all of the great work that you're doing, raising some beautiful young women in the southern portion of the county, and the work that you do also with supporting our students at City View and other elementary schools around the area. We thank you and your family for what you're doing here in Cobb County, and your church too as well. So I don't want to leave them out, because they play a big part in making sure that what we do in Cobb County is great. So thank you for all of your love and support as we move forward. So that's it. I don't have anything else per se. These are the highlights of what took place on yesterday and what's going on. I just want to make sure that I reiterate, if you are early learning, if you're looking for pre-K opportunities, go to our district website and look and see what's going on with that. You will know that we have that sign up is happening. If you want to continue with the online school, whether it be the elementary virtual program or the COLA program for middle and high school, please. Today, I believe that that opportunity has been opened up for next school year. Again, early learning, virtual programs, those application processes are open now. So we have to take some time and go through that application process so that you can be prepared for the next school year. Both of those windows are open right now, right before spring break. And so again, spring break, April 4th through 8th. After we get back, just know that we will probably be in a testing season, and students are getting prepared for that before we go into graduation season. So a lot of things are happening really, really fast in our community and in our community schools. So thank you for everyone that is supporting our schools, everyone that is supporting academics and rigorous academics in our schools. We appreciate you. We are moving forward, and hopefully over the next couple months, we'll have more information in regards to redistricting and what that looks like for our areas. Just note that it's not, these efforts will not take place in August, the next school year, but everything that we're working on now, we're setting up for the next school year, not August of this year, but our next school year, August of next year. And so I think you're going to be excited about some of the things that we have come up with. is good stuff. And so I'll be excited to share some of that with you soon. And hopefully we'll have a town hall of some sort. Pebblebrook High School's theater is I'm starting to see some things shape up. I'm seeing brick and everything looks like it's about to be finalized. So I'm hopeful over the next couple of months, by mid-May, we may be able to, before we get out of school or just as we're getting out of school, have a town hall to recap the year and to recap, what has taken place and how we move forward, redistricting and some of the other things that are taking place in our community in that new facility. So we look forward to the future, and we look forward to making sure that we have a safe spring break and that we have fun at the same time. And those that will be participating in our summer program, please start look for your emails. You're going to start seeing some invitation from your schools for those that need to participate in the summer program. Start looking at those opportunities as well. So thank you again. And if you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, as always, please reach out. My email address, T as in Tony, T-R-E, Trey, for the number 4, cobbschools@gmail.com, or my district email address is thutchins, HUTCHINS, .boardmember@cobbk12.org. Reach out to me. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm here to help serve. I'm here to help put us in front of those district people that can help assist us, whatever the challenges are that we may have, or even if it's just something great and you want to share it, please do so. Reach out and let's move forward together. Thank you. And I look forward to seeing each of you in the immediate future in whatever capacity it is, because we have a lot going on in our communities, and we're excited about the growth and the development in our area. And so I look forward to the future of Mableton and South Cobb and the schools, Pebblebrook High School, South Cobb High School, and McEachern High School as we move forward into the future. So thank you again for joining us this afternoon. And I know it's a little later than usual, but we thank you. And we'll probably re-air this again tomorrow on Saturday for those that were unable to catch it. And if you, again, have any questions, comments, or concerns, please add them to the chat, and we'll still be able to respond in the chat as we're moving forward. So thank you again.